Shalom and Torah Rabbi Israel. Hello and thank you so much, Israel, for making it to the very end of Daniel 9 prophecy, where we have obtained the full understanding according to Scripture. So we are now at the very last verse. We're going to go ahead and get started. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So this is the last video technically addressing all this, because there's one last video that's going to summarize everything and recap, but this is the last part of the interpretation of the prophecy. So the Hebrew word for consummation is kala, and what we're dealing with here is destruction. Some definitions to get you more familiar with kala is completion, complete destruction, consumption, annihilation. Also, it's like I said, annihilation, complete destruction, complete end, completely destroy, destruction, end, entirely, full end. So I'm getting the impression that it has something to do with a complete end and ultimate destruction. So basically, that is the definition, that is the understanding that we need to walk away with, is that this is dealing with devastating, complete, all and out annihilation and destruction of something when we're dealing with kala. So therefore, when we put it back into its proper context, we can understand that this verse is saying the following: for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate to complete destruction. And the very last part of the verse says, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So this has two key points we shouldn't miss. First, there is something that has been determined, or aka decreed. Second is that something will be poured on the desolate. We know from the previous studies that desolations have been decreed or determined. To interpret or understand the first key point, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So the first part, as we stated, is that there is something that has been determined, or in other words, there's something that has been decreed. What has been decreed or what has been determined? We've actually addressed that in the video concerning the war and desolations. There are desolations that have been decreed. There are desolations that have been determined. That's all that is saying. That's all it's saying. Now, what we need to do is continue with the second key element to understand everything in perspective. So the second point says that something will be poured on the desolate. So first, desolations have already been decreed. It's already been spoken. It will come to pass. It is written, so let it be done, right? But not only are there going to be desolations, there's going to be something that is poured out on those desolations. What could it possibly be? Well, remember, throughout Scripture, we have repeatedly been told that Yahuwah has a cup of wrath, his cup of indignation that will be poured out on the beast and his kingdom and the nations. Let's go ahead and look at some verses. We have Revelations 14:10. It says, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahuwah, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So that's one. The second example we have is Psalm 75 verse 8. For a cup is in the hand of Yahuwah, and the wine foams. It is well mixed, and he pours out of this. Surely all the wicked of the earth shall drain and drink down its dregs. So now we have Isaiah 51:17. Remember, with Mystery Babylon, the cup will be switched to the hand of the woman. Rouse yourself. Arise, O Jerusalem, you who have drunk from Yahuwah's hand the cup of his anger. The chalice of reelings you have drained to the dregs. And lastly, when we look at Revelations chapter 16, we're going to see a pattern of things being poured out. It says, I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of wrath of Yahuwah upon the earth. The first went and poured out. The second angel poured out. The third angel poured out. The fourth angel poured out. The fifth angel poured out. The sixth angel poured out. The seventh angel poured out. So I think we get it. Point is, when we see that verse that says that determined shall be poured upon the desolate, now we know without a shadow of a doubt what this verse is talking about. So the interpretation basically says the end will come with total destruction, desolations have been decreed, or desolations have been determined, and the wrath of Yahuwah will be poured out upon the desolate. Thank you guys so much to everyone who subscribed to my channel, new subscribers. I know I'm a small channel. I really appreciate it. And thank you for making it through the interpretation of this prophecy with me. So stay tuned for the next video where we will recap and summarize and get the full proper interpretation of Daniel 9 verses 24 through 27. Thank you so much and take care.